Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Shekhar Iyer. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and also feel free to put in your comments as and when you feel appropriate. And also don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. I am wearing a Khadi Gramodyog Bhavan shirt, and it's very nice. And I would encourage you all to go visit Khadi shops in your hometown, wherever you are. They make some really good stuff, and by the way, they are very cheap. And sorry for a long discussion here, or a monologue before I introduce the guest of the evening, Shekhar Iyer. Shekhar ji, as you all know, is a well-known veteran journalist, and today he's going to talk about the passing of a socialist icon, leader, Mulayam Singh Yadav, and what is the future of socialism. And we are also going to talk about two or three other more important things. So first, let's start with Mulayam Singh Yadav. Shekhar ji, your experiences of working or interviewing with Mulayam Singh ji.
Thank you, Shri Iyer ji. Good evening to all your viewers, or good morning, wherever they are. I think Mulayam Singh Yadav was a very interesting personality, a person with that kind of political dexterity that saw him, 7 times MLA of the UP Assembly, 3 times Chief Minister, and also had a long stint in the Parliament. And he almost missed being Prime Minister, I would say, in 1996, after the defeat of Congress under Narasimha Rao. A situation came where the Congress was willing to support from outside to prevent BJP from coming to power, after that 13-day experiment of Vajpayee government. That was the time, and Mulayam had contested the Lok Sabha election that year in the hope that he would be chosen being from the largest state of India. But he was stopped in his attempts by none other than his today's Sambandhi, Lalu Prasad Yadav, who did not want another Yadav leader to, attain, that kind of status as a prime minister, because Lalu had his own ambitions. So that is how the consensus could not be evolved on Mulayam, and we saw H.D. Devgowda from Karnataka becoming prime minister for some time. Then he had subsequent problems with Congress chief Sitaram Kesari. Then the next 1 year, between 97 and 98, it was the soft-spoken 𝗖𝗂𝘀𝗃 Gujral. Now, Mulayam Singh Yadav is a person who actually, began as a socialist follower of the ideologues like Ram Manohar Lohia. And he joined his party in 1963. And in 67, he contested the first election from Jaswantnagar in Uttar Pradesh. And at that time, he had no resources. And, he used to go around in a bicycle to campaign. And he was also worried about his bicycle being stolen. So Mulayam himself used to recount in many interviews, how when he was penniless and was contesting an election as a true socialist leader, he would, take his bicycle up a tree, because he himself was a good bodybuilder and a wrestler, to begin with. And he would place his cycle up the tree, and he was sure nobody would be able to climb the tree and bring that cycle down, or carry his shoulder down. So that is how subsequently also when he formed his party in 1992, you would have noticed he went for bicycle as a symbol of Samajwadi Party. Symbol is bicycle. Now, Mulayam Singh Yadav had, certain plus points that made him stand out from the other leaders. One was his ability to interact, being a true, socialist mold, in the sense, ability to interact with the poor people. And he used to encourage, unknown faces, particularly among the backward class communities, working class communities, encourage them to contest election. And he would organize resources, whether it was local civic elections or even assembly election. That's how he built up his party. It was a single man job. That's how he built up his party. And for a good, period, he was, I would say, a true socialist in that sense, for the downtrodden, for the poor. But like then all socialists who were somehow attracted to power, he would, make friends with across the spectrum. And one of his mantra was unpredictability about whom would he choose as allies, in any given arrangement, how it would benefit him. That is how his 3 times as chief minister also saw different allies. And he made up with I mean, he did have virtually no enemies excepting for one person, that was Mayawati. And if you remember that episode in 1995, because Mulayam Singh managed to strike a deal with the founder of Bahujan Samaj Party, Kanshiram.
Yes.
Kanshiram was the mentor for Mayawati. And that was sometime in 93, and Mulayam became a chief minister. That was the second stint. And Mayawati did not like it, that her mentor Kanshiram and Mulayam had entered into deal. And on a day when Mulayam was attending presiding over a cabinet meeting in Lucknow, she went and announced withdrawal of BSP support for Mulayam Singh, which would leave his government in a minority. And that angered Mulayam and also angered the Samajwadi leaders, who immediately set upon their goons to attack that guest house where she was staying. And there was an incident of arson. And subsequently, Mayawati made the allegation that they tried to burn her alive. And she was rescued by a BJP leader from the crowd. I mean, this is one particular episode. Mulayam never apologized for that attack and that violence on her. Now, it is another story. In 2019, Mulayam's son, Akhilesh Yadav, had an alliance with the BSP, and he called her his aunt, Bua. And they contested election together in 2019 Lok Sabha elections and did not make much of a mark because BJP won a good number of seats in Uttar Pradesh. Now, Mulayam's important role, Sri Iyer, which our viewers would appreciate, was, see, he grew in the crucible of anti-Congressism of the 70s and 80s, because Ram Manohar Lohia himself, once an acolyte of Jawaharlal Nehru, turned against Congress. Similarly, all his followers, they were in that anti-Congressism mold. And that is why his most important contribution, I would say, if you recall, when Subramania Swamy had organized that tea party which Jayalalitha attended, Sonia attended, and Jayalalitha withdrew support because Vajpayee refused to withdraw the income tax cases against her. And the whole problem was, Sonia went to K.R. Narayanan, who was then the president, and staked claim to form the government, rather in an unofficial sort. But Mulayam openly refused to back Sonia for the prime ministership, saying that he could not back a person with a foreign origin. And that was considered a great service to the nation by BJP. And that is why he had a relationship with BJP, which was sometimes blow hot, blow cold. But deep down, BJP felt immensely grateful that he didn't let Sonia become prime minister. Apart from that, Mulayam Singh's politics evolved around, uh, ending the bitterness between the OBC and Muslim community in northern belt for a long time. And that created that formula, MY factor, which we often used to discuss whenever elections are held, Lok Sabha assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh. We always talk of MY factor. And Mulayam was the author of that MY, Muslim and Yadav combination. A similar combination which Lalu also managed. Previously, if you would have seen in the riots that used to take place, in the early 70s and even early 80s, invariably, the problem was between Yadavs and Muslims in many cities and many towns and kasbas. But this political alliance, which, Mulayam Singh became a sort of a messenger of unity between a big chunk of Hindu and an aggressive Hindu caste and the Muslim community, and that gave political dividend. So in election after election, Samajwadi Party had a good record haul of seats. Sometimes they had a majority to form government, and otherwise they depended on allies. But that is a factor that has still kept Samajwadi alive and kicking in Uttar Pradesh. Though this time the performance was better than the previous assembly elections, but nevertheless this factor helped, and this is the factor is contribution of Mulayam. And as I mentioned earlier, Mulayam was always unpredictable. He made friends bearing with one person, that is Mayawati, and you could never predict him. Take for instance, just before the Lok Sabha elections in 2019, he got up in the Lok Sabha. He was speaking on the budget, discussion on a budget. He got up and said, praised Prime Minister Modi, and Sonia Gandhi was sitting beside him, and she didn't know where to look. And he said, Prime Minister ji, aap itne achha kaam kar rahe hain. I wish you well. You should come back as Prime Minister in Lok Sabha elections. I mean, the opposition bench didn't know where to look, and here was Mulayam heaping praise on Prime Minister. And Prime Minister, in his condolence message, on hearing the news of Mulayam, recalled this particular episode, that Mulayam is such a person, such a democratic mind, and he even praised me and wished me well before the Lok Sabha election, though Samajwadi was one of the principal rivals in Uttar Pradesh. So you can see a personality. But the problem, Shri Irji, with all the socialist leaders, we have seen, it happened to Lalu also. Somehow, though they started with the lofty ideals of socialism, see, excepting barring George Fernandez. George Fernandez, though an attempt was made to paint him as very corrupt, and his Samata party, you had that coffin scam and all that, cash for coffin, and then how Jab Jetli was sought to be framed, that is one episode. But George Fernandez himself did two things. One, he was known for his Spartan life, and personally, he was always considered clean, which something other socialist leaders could not match up to that ideal that was once set up by Ram Manohar Lohia. And what you saw was Mulayam, after coming, being the chief minister thrice, and the last was, between 2007 and between 2007 and 12. What you saw was rather no, it was between 17 onwards, Yogi is there, but before that, between 2012 and 17, it was Akhilesh Yadav, because on 2012 he left it to Mulayam, to his son to become chief minister. But the whole problem was both Mulayam Singh Yadav and Lalu Prasad Yadav, they were tempted by the lure of office. So they encouraged their clan, the Yadav clan, so much of nepotism, corruption. That is something Mulayam never even made an attempt to overcome. And that was also his undoing, because that is the time when he got into contacts like people like one-time Congress functionary like Amar Singh. Because Amar Singh, began his career as in the Chhatra Parishad in West Bengal, and subsequently rose to become one of the top fixers in Delhi. And, he used to pick his leader and go near him and promise him the moon and fill him with all national ambition. And that's what Amar Singh did. But Amar Singh also brought top corporate friends to Mulayam. And that is a time when Mulayam was, got accustomed to this whole corporate lifestyle, and his socialist moorings, I would say, got cut or were lost, because money became a factor, and Samajwadi Party coffers were filling. So were the coffers of individual leaders, and they got totally under the control of people like Amar Singh. And that he cut him off from a lot of other people, other senior leaders in his party, who were, at least in terms of ideology, were committed to the socialistic ideals. Now, this is the kind of scenario, finally saw, it was left to Akhilesh Yadav when he became CM to completely snap the ties with Amar Singh. And Amar Singh was, and that was the time when, Mulayam Singh couldn't do anything. But Amar Singh's association brought financial resources, but somehow, created problem within the family. And also, that is a time when people abandoned cycles, particularly Samajwadi Party, and they went in for SUVs. So the SUV driving socialists, which you saw, in Uttar Pradesh, and they all became property dealers into real estate. And that also led to a situation where many SP leaders were seen as, violators of the law, and one who used strong arm tactics. And Mulayam pardoned all of them, never even made any attempt to check. But Mulayam being Mulayam, he was always, he had friends across, and even his relation with media was, I would say, sometimes blow hot, blow cold, but then he always had the ability to patch up, to meet, and, somehow kept going. And more he came under the control of Amar Singh, then the more we saw is a kind of a subdued Mulayam, who was always in a mood for a compromise. And I mentioned about his preventing Sonia from becoming Prime Minister in 1999. But in 2007...
Is it 98 or 99?
Which, 99, after,
Okay.
Jayalalitha withdraw support, thanks to
Right.
the effort of Dr. Swami.
Right.
And, in 2007, when left had a huge issue with Congress, because they were providing the outside support on the Indo-US nuclear deal, Mulayam saved the government in the sense, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh refused to budge on the Indo-US nuclear deal, and left withdrew support. And there was a confidence motion coming up in the Lok Sabha, and Mulayam supported uh, Congress and bailed them out from that situation. And he was then Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. But this is the kind of person, you could never predict him. But at the same time, he was I would say he was the last of the leaders, because previously when other leader, when Ramvilas Paswan died again in the month of October 2 years ago, people again started ruining the fact that, look, all these leaders who grew under the shadow of people like Ram Manohar Lohia, Jayaprakash Narayan, they were going one by one. I mean, there is no more any socialist leaders of this kind of standing, to take it forward. And that's the situation today. That socialism, of course, it's on the lips of all political persons on the hue, though they use other methods and other political terminologies and technologies to win elections. But what we are seeing is socialism. In fact, Dr. Swamy filed a petition in Supreme Court. I'm sorry. There was another person who filed a petition in the Supreme Court seeking for the removal of those two words which Indira Gandhi introduced in the preamble of our constitution, which says socialistic and secular. That petition is still pending in the Supreme Court, that this were introduced during the emergency 1976. So that's the situation we are in, where, of course, there is a still fierce debate about how the poverty in our country should be fought. Is it through empowerment, to direct benefit transfer, to direct delivery, targeted delivery, of government's efforts at the very poorest of the poor? This is a debate going on, and Prime Minister Modi, recently started the debate over what he called the Revadi culture, freebies. Where you have parties like Aam Aadmi Party who have been promising the moon, free this, free that, free power, free electricity. It has worked in Delhi so far because Delhi is a surplus state. A lot of expenses in Delhi, which is incurred by the government, is borne by the center rather than by Delhi government. So Delhi government has that cushion, but that's not the case in Punjab. We have seen. So this debate goes on. How you can quickly end the disparities that continue even as Indian economy is growing. That's a bigger debate going on. But socialism as an USP of any political party, I would say no more. Voters don't vote because you call yourself socialists.
Shekharji, a couple of questions from what you said. 1995, you said a BJP minister or a leader rescued Mayawati, and yet she ditched the BJP in 1999. When hers was the vote that actually turned the tables on the BJP. She had promised, I think there were 6 BSP MPs. She said that she would vote for the NDA, but then at the last minute she ditched. What do you think happened? Why did she change her mind, sir?
Because when there was an alliance between Samajwadi Party and that one, the BSP, and that Lucknow incident. After that, because after that what happened, and another arrangement where Mayawati was supported by BJP. Mayawati became chief minister and supported BJP, and what we saw during that phase was there were problems between Mayawati and BJP. So BJP withdrew support. And not only that, they encouraged many BSP rebels to support Mulayam, and Mulayam became chief minister. So she always felt that BJP was playing games. They made her one stage that support was there for her, but then they felt they were also doing business with Mulayam. So she was looking for a moment where she could take her revenge. So that is why she was not willing to back Vajpayee in 99. Otherwise, this, of course, BJP's idea was between Mulayam and Mayawati, they had to play these games so that their party could grow, because after all they had a tall leader like Mulayam Singh at one time being chief minister, particularly when the Babri Masjid was demolished. And about Mulayam Singh also, Mulayam Singh was among those opposition leaders who took opportunity created by the political situation of a demolition of that disputed structure. Because that led to a situation where he took that risk. Because when the Hindutva thing was getting aggressive, and Advaniji's Radha Yatra became a big turning point in the national politics after the Mandal, the Mandal thing, the Mandal quota. So Mandal versus Kabandal, as it was made out then. So that is the phase when Mulayam took that line. And there was also an episode in his the first phase between 89 and 91. There was a police action on Karsevaks who had gone to Ayodhya. That also went against him. But the point is, he always ensured, he always, being the tallest leader of the Yadav clan in Uttar Pradesh, he had the solid support of Yadavs. And with this Muslim factor, in terms of percentages, he could manage with the help of Muslims and Yadavs. He had with him about, say, 20% easily with him, which was always on his side, which gave him that edge. So he was willing to risk that sometimes that Hanti, and that's why he was even called, Maulana Mulayam, because he was seen as more pro minorities.
So next question, sir, is so the Vajpayee government fell, and K.R. Narayanan was the president, and there was a chance for the Jayalalitha faction, which was essentially whoever was, I mean, they had, I think, 1 or 2 votes more than the other side. And there was some talk about Subramaniam Swamy being their PM candidate. Because after all, if you say that he put together the Tea Party, there was a quid pro quo for that. I don't know. I'm just asking you because I was not part of I was not so active in politics and things like that. So what really happened in your opinion? Because why did then Jayalalitha go and do an end run around Swamy and ask, what's her name, Sonia Gandhi to stake a claim?
No, well, I think, Dr. Swamy worked on the fact that Jayalalitha was upset with BJP because they were not willing to withdraw the income tax cases against her, which were, were ordered by P. Chidambaram when the, DMK TMC was part of the United Front government in 96-98. So that is the reason she came to the BJP, and she was willing to support Vajpayee government provided these cases were withdrawn. But the problem was Vajpayee realized when Vajpayee got his office to examine those cases, many of the cases had reached a stage where the government could not go before the income tax tribunal and withdraw the case. They felt that this is something they could not do without suffering damage, because it would appear they were helping Jayalalitha get out of those cases, disproportionate assets cases. That is the time when Swamy convinced Jayalalitha that if he withdraws support, and if she backs Sonia or a Congress-led government, and if with him as finance minister, he would help Jayalalitha in getting out of that problem. Now, what I gather was, one was this particular problem. The other was, I think, what happened was somewhere along within the Congress, there were leaders like Arjun Singh, who told Sonia not to trust Dr. Swamy. And they were opposed to, Swamy playing a bigger role in a Congress-led arrangement where he would be the finance minister. Yet he would not be part of the Congress. They feared his entry because, previously he had good relationship with Rajiv Gandhi. He and Rajiv Gandhi were excellent friends. So therefore, I think that particularly, created hurdles. And that is why Jayalalitha, when she realized that this was not working, and then Mulayam, going away, Mulayam saying he won't support Sonia, so the whole plan fell. The net result, there were fresh elections. And in the fresh elections, before the fresh elections, DMK walked into that NDA alliance led by Vajpayee. And Jayalalitha lost power, and DMK had walked into an alliance which, had walked into a space which she had vacated. So that is how, Jayalalitha felt very upset. And Dr. Swamy also felt very upset with the Congress for creating hurdles when things could have been smoothed out. And since then, you would have seen Dr. Swamy never spared Sonia Gandhi. That is one of the main reasons, because that experiment, because Dr. Swamy, had no great feelings for Vajpayee. They had goes back to the old 𝙤𝙧𝙤𝙪 days. So therefore, that particular episode, if you see, it was a single man effort by Dr. Swamy, which completely, torpedoed the Vajpayee government. But then, after this government fell, then you had in 99, before the elections, you had the Kargil invasion. So that year, 1998, the election got postponed from March, April to it went up to October. And Vajpayee lost by a single vote because Girdhar Gamang, who had already become Odisha chief minister, of the Congress, he came to vote for the defeat of Vajpayee government.
Sir, I have a question. See, I've never asked you this because I keep hearing that Swami was the one who brought down the Vajpayee government. See, Vajpayee's coalition was the speaker, GMC Balayogi, was Telugu Desam party. GMC Balayogi could have easily disqualified Giridhar Gamam. Why did he not do that?
No, sir, because he was, under the rules, you have a 6-month period. See, he had become chief minister, being a Lok Sabha member, but he had a 6-month time to get elected to the state assembly. He had then not got elected, because if he had got elected, he would have to vacate one of the seats. So Girdhar Gamang had not got elected. So he remained a Lok Sabha member even as Odisha chief minister. And that was the period when this thing happened, and Congress summoned him here to vote against Vajpayee government. That is how Vajpayee lost by a single vote. And in which the Lok Sabha speaker technically could not have done anything because he still remained the Lok Sabha member. Only thing, he can't be member of the two houses. He can't be member of parliament and member of state assembly. So it was during that 6-month period that is allowed for a person who becomes chief minister to get elected to the state assembly or to the state legislative council if it exists in that particular state. So that was the situation. But there is another episode, Shri Iyer, because we are talking about Sonia's effort, which was described in 2004 when she did not become prime minister. She went and met K.R. Narayanan and came back. That is also again
Abdul Kalam.
Yeah, Abdul Kalam, and that thing is attributed to again Dr. Swami. There have been several reports, several hashes talk in the corridors of Delhi that Dr. Swami met Kalam, President Kalam then, and told him something about a provision in our Citizenship Act where he, I think, cited something about reciprocity, where that if our citizens have those reciprocal rights even after getting the citizenship of that country to run for elective offices in that country, that same thing can be extended to the same citizen. I don't know. But what did happen was Sonia went in with Kalam, and we do not know for a fact whether Kalam raised this issue, but definitely after coming back from there, because till then the mood that was building up outside 10 Janpat and as well as Akbar Road office of the Congress was that Sonia would be the prime minister, and already a campaign had started. How could a person with a foreign origin become prime minister? BJP was very aggressive on that. But one thing that changed, and suddenly Sonia decided not to. We hear also stories that Rahul was, did not want his mother to become. There are stories about Rahul even, threatening to do anything to himself to prevent Sonia from becoming. We do not know. These are some of the, tales of those period. And finally, Sonia did not become, and she chose an accidental prime minister, that is Dr. Manmohan Singh.
Well. A lot of interesting stuff that happened then. So let's now move on to the second topic of our evening. This is Gujarat. Sir, Prime Minister Modi said that Congress was abdicating its role as an opposition in Gujarat in favor of the Aam Aadmi Party. Do you see it the same way?
Well, I do not think that Congress would, abdicate its space, but definitely, compared to Aam Aadmi Party, the Congress campaign has been lackluster. I would say even there is no worthwhile campaign that has been done by any national leaders, like the way Kejriwal has been making repeated forays to, Gujarat, and he has been also bringing in leaders, even the Punjab chief minister to do yatra with him. Two AAP leaders, two AAP chief ministers traveling through, because Arvind Kejriwal is looking at Gujarat election not in the hope that he will be able to dethrone BJP, but at least he can make a beginning, and AAP will be the alternative to the Congress in the opposition space. That is what he's aiming at. But the kind of traction he has managed, particularly in Saurashtra, in large areas of Saurashtra and southern Gujarat, has given him some hope. That perhaps AAP could be a long-term player in Gujarat. But at the same time, what has happened is Congress has been keeping silent because Congress has been in a quite bad shape in organization terms. It has lost several of its middle-ranking leaders or even good number of functionaries to BJP. Many of them shifted over over the last year or so, and many of them, even some of them, even gone to AAP also. So a scenario what we are seeing is, elections can be announced later this month, most probably after Diwali. The election commission could be announcing elections to Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh. But Congress is yet to be seen, taking full action. I mean, coming into that fighting mode in Gujarat, compared to what Aam Aadmi Party is doing. But at the same time, now videos have surfaced about AAP leaders, criticizing Prime Minister, using such languages which Manishankar has used before UP elections in 2017. And so that has heated up a lot. And Prime Minister has been, utilizing this opportunity over surfacing of this. Of course, these are supposed to be old videos saying that, look, the very people who accused me are now keeping silent, and probably they are letting the job, they have outsourced this job to Aam Aadmi Party. But one thing is clear, Shriji, the Aam Aadmi Party as well as Congress are always upset. Why does Prime Minister take these assembly elections so seriously and himself campaigns? Because when it is Prime Minister versus Congress or any opposition party, particularly in the states where BJP is stronghold, the he is not going to become chief minister there again. But then his persona, his image, carries a lot of traction with voters. As we have seen, he has made repeated forays to different parts of Gujarat. Sometimes inaugurating projects that were launched in the last 5 years, or even laying foundation stone for future projects, addressing meeting, connecting with people. He continues to draw that same response that he has been getting all along. So they feel that if it is Modi who is going to lead the BJP campaign in this way, it's an unlevel, unequal playing field. That is something that bothers Aam Aadmi Party as well as Congress. But at the same time, BJP is not taking chances as they see that there could be pockets, there could be some seats where Aam Aadmi Party could be eyeing, and where they do get traction, because there could be disgruntled elements of BJP and Congress, supporting Aam Aadmi Party against their parent party. So these are possibilities that BJP leadership is, seem to be preparing for, to combat this kind of situation.
And now let's take a look at the next topic, which is, just give me 1 second, sir, while I put up the Bharat Jodo Yatra. You saw Rahul Gandhi jogging, and a portly Siddaramaiah decided to jog along. And after 20, 30 yards, I guess he stopped. And I think his personal physician ran up to him and I said, don't run, don't run, don't run. It's not good for your heart, probably. How is the Bharat Jodo Yatra going now? After Karnataka, do you think that it's because there isn't much buzz after that? How do you see this thing, sir?
So I think even the Congress party is also worried, because, of course, in the areas there where he is going, it is generating some publicity in the local region, because there is some optics involved. But outside, there is not big attention to the Rahul's Yatra in the northern papers. In North India, the media is not bothered about that Yatra, because it is not passing the hardcore areas where the Congress faces the main challenge, that is the Hindi belt or the cow belt or the northern India. So therefore, there is not much of a. That's why Congress got some of the media people from Delhi to go and see the response he is getting. But this Yatra also, you mentioned about Siddaramaiah, gasping for breath, but holding the hands of Rahul Gandhi, that optics upsets DK Shivkumar, because that day he was in Delhi, attending to the summons of Enforcement Directorate in the cases against him. And so he ensured the next day he was back and he was holding Rahul Gandhi's hand, and he was sprinting, because it was made out, since Rahul Gandhi had held the hand of Siddaramaiah, he is going to be this projected CM the Karnataka elections next year. But DK Shivkumar, who I understand is bearing the entire expenditure of this Bharat Jodo Yatra in Karnataka and even outside Karnataka, he didn't want to let Siddaramaiah have his way with this optics. So he also started holding, and it's sometimes very pathetic to see. You have a youngish Rahul Gandhi, jogging sometimes, walking, or or doing a fast walking, but all these leaders who are not used to this kind of physical exertions, but trying to catch up with Rahul Gandhi or trying to be with Rahul Gandhi in the hope that if they miss it or they appear to be physically unfit, they would miss the bus in terms of probable CM candidates. That's a very pathetic scene. You have people who are 60 plus or even close to 70, trying to match with somebody who has Rahul Gandhi always paid attention to his physique, but even then I hear that Rahul is also having, his feet is aching, and he's also undergoing some kind of a therapy to heal his the painful parts of his legs. Because of course there are other leaders who are who join for few stretches in the hope that they are not seen, their absence is not conspicuous, if to have subsequent impact in terms of their standing vis-a-vis Rahul Gandhi. So this is a scene, but the real thing is, two things are happening, because Rahul Gandhi will be addressing a big rally in Bellary on October 15th. If you remember, in 99, Sonia Gandhi, after she had become Congress president in 98, contested that election. And she chose to contest from two places. One was Rai Bareli, the other was Bellary. And BJP put up Sushma Swaraj against Sonia Gandhi. And Sushma Swaraj learned Kannada language. And I was witness to her address in, Hubli, or Hubballi as it is called today. And she was fluent for more than half an hour in Kannada. I was amazed that she could speak, because Sushma ji had a felicity for languages. And somehow she managed to speak in Kannada language. And 𝗼𝘂𝗍𝙬 Advani, who was witness to that incident on the stage itself, because Advani ji is known to get emotional at this kind of, and they were all his, people chosen by Advani ji, Sushma, Arun Jaitley, Pramod Mahajan, they were all picked up from among the lot of young leaders. So this Bellary again, because there is always a talk that this yatra has also got to do with Rahul Gandhi looking for a safer seat. So whether it will be, Medak or Bellary or Kanyakumari. So therefore, the October 15th rally is important. The other thing is happening is Congress is trying to get Sharad Pawar to receive the yatra when it enters Maharashtra sometime end of next month. Before that, it has to go through Telangana. I do not know how KCR is going to receive. How is he going to respond? I would say, to Congress foray into his own state, because Congress is not in great shape in Telangana, where once it occupied the space of the opposition, and today that space has been vigorously contested by the BJP, and BJP is looking like it is the one which is actually challenging KCR on his home turf.
So, Shekharji, nice that you brought up Telangana. I have two questions, one on Telangana and one on Tamil Nadu. First, let's take a look at Telangana. Now, in Telangana, KCR has, we talked about this last episode, he has launched this BSR, or BRS, I should say. That may not give him a lot of traction, but somehow he has gone ahead and done that. Let's just set that thing aside for a moment. He's expected to win this one because evidently astrologers have told him that his time is good until 2027. When you are in such a situation, he continues to appease 𝙤𝙧𝙤𝙪 to an extent beyond imaginable. Do you think that would actually hurt him against BJP? Because you saw him lose big in the Hyderabad municipal elections.
Well, it's a factor, but then he cannot give up on OSC, because he has always had, some kind of an understanding with OSC's MIM. This was always there with the Majlis. And they have always supported one another, in the running of the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation also, because that ensures that as far as Majlis is concerned, their writ runs in the Hyderabad. And TRS has never challenged them in that area. And when it comes to resources of the municipal corporation for use there, that has always been, nothing has happened. So there is some kind of an understanding. And we have seen, before election, they work like rivals. They all appear to be rivals, but that they are there. But at the same time, BJP has been making a big issue of this kind of, some kind of an understanding between TRS and MIM. They have been making it an issue. And this time you saw how The liberation of Hyderabad was made a big event with Amit Shah going there and making one of those aggressive speeches. This will be an issue. And also, you mentioned about astrologers, telling KCR that he has a good time. And even the talk is that the very fact that he changed the name of his party is also attributed to some Tatrik giving him advice that change your party's name from Telangana Rashtriya Samiti to Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti. I do not know. Well, this is the buzz. But the fact is, KCR has lot of financial resources. I mean, in terms of resources, because his party and he himself is commands so much of resources, he can make this kind of adventure, I would say, because with 17 Lok Sabha seats, I can't see how any party from Telangana can become a very big factor in forming the next government in 2024. But he believes that he'll be able to win even if he wins 15 of those 17 Lok Sabha seats, which from Telangana, which I am not sure that's possible. He feels that along with he would fund other parties. Otherwise, you tell me, why would a Janata Dal secular leader and former Chief Minister of Karnataka, Kumaraswamy, go and stand before him and participate in the launch of this party when JDS itself and his father Devagowda has also not given up his hope, because his astrologer has also told him that you can get another chance. At least that was the belief for some time. So therefore, with resources, he is getting the smaller parties in other states who are starved of funds for some time to come to him and to back him up. But in terms of actual political reality, one is still doubtful. Okay, he may still do well in Telangana because of the kind of vote combination, the caste combination, and BJP giving a very tough challenge. And maybe the numbers will get reduced. He could still be the realm of forming the next government in Telangana. But in terms of national politics, whether he will make an impact, I'm not sure, Sri Ayerji.
Shekharji, there was a rally that took place a couple of days ago in older Hyderabad around Charminar area, where it is believed that it was MIM members. They have actually taken out the chakra and put some letters from in Urdu. Now, these are all things like they are trying to still try and see if they can push. And you're also seeing violence in Bengal happening. What does it gain them? Because if anything, it actually polarizes even the fence sitters in the Hindus, isn't it?
No, it does. But at the same time, OIC is looking at Muslim votes across states, because basically he is fighting for a space which he feels has been occupied by the so-called secular parties. And why not he emerge as the Muslim party, and so that the Muslim voters, and also he is also trying to cultivate some sections of Dalits with financial resources to back him. And his whole idea is that MIM emerges as a party of instead of the secular parties, he fills that space. So if he can, because ultimately he hopes he can win, say 25, 30 Lok Sabha seats, and any future coalition arrangement, I mean, in the hope that BJP would not have enough numbers in 2024, any arrangement, any alternative government will have to come to him, and thereby he can show to his voters, to the Muslim voters, that if there is a party that is going to speak for them, it will be MIM. So that is his agenda. That's very clear. That is why even on a matter of ban on PFI, because he was not very happy with the workings of the PFI, because an extremistic approach was always harmful to parties like his, and because they are more extremist than some of the leaders of MIM are. So therefore, but then he again said that, look, no party should, no organization should be banned like this, summarily banned. Knowing very well the provisions of Unlawful Activities Act allow for that a ban when a group is considered extremely inimical to the interest of the nation. But that is the space he's looking at, because the battle is about trying to capture the mind space of Muslims. But then Muslims, in states like UP, even in Bengal, they have not responded so well to OVC. But then the success of MIM in Maharashtra, and gradually attempts being made to see that a presence is made in Bihar or Uttar Pradesh, that all goes to show that OVC has not given up on his national ambition as emerging as heading a party that becomes the voice of Muslims.
Now let's take a look at Tamil Nadu or Tamil Nadu. There was a party meeting in which Stalin is supposed to have dressed down ministers and spokespersons and so on about the kind of language they were using. And it was supposed to be an internal party meeting. Somebody unfortunately leaked the video and it hit all the channels. Now, does that mean that Mr. Stalin is not really in control of his party?
No, well, see, he is unlike his father. He is not such a tough taskmaster, and because of his health, and then by his very nature, you know, Stalin is more soft-spoken and I would say less scheming than his father. At least his father was extremely shrewd, and he would know how to fix his rivals. The hidden ones and the open ones. But Stalin is rather softer by nature. And but what he has found is the ministers, instead of concentrating in their ministries, have been making statements, creating controversies, and at the same time, there is some kind of uncertainty in the DMK, because who is going to be, with the Stalin's health he has not been in the pink of health. So whether he is going to bring his son. Recently, you saw a big development. The General Council meeting saw that Kanimuri was made Deputy General Secretary, along with others, including A. Raja, who were already there previously. They were there, Ponmudi and other ministers. Now, best what is explained is, look, the ministers have been rather, have been acting on their own in many instances, and they've been making statements, creating controversies, and Stalin probably realizes there is no need for more discipline, and controversy should be avoided, because this is already the second year. They'll be entering third year very soon, and and they feel, at least Stalin feels, with his challenges posed by his health, and about his plans for succession in his party. Of course, now he has made peace with his half sister Kadimuri, but this has left other veterans unhappy. And this situation in DMK is best explained by the cartoon that has been doing the rounds on WhatsApp, which is picture of Jayalalitha and Stalin, side by side. Jayalalitha's picture says, ministers in Jayalalitha's period, they woke up wondering whether they are still ministers or not. Whether their portfolios are still with them or not. And here, in the case of Stalin, here it is Stalin who is worried what as he reportedly said at the meeting, that he is worried what his minister, every day he wakes up wondering what his ministers were up to and what kind of problems they were posing for him. So the two contrasts shows the kind of control Jayalalitha wielded in ADMK and the kind of control that Stalin probably doesn't want to wield with an iron hand, because that is not his nature.
Let's take some questions now. Ask Shekhar is the hashtag. You probably know. I've seen a lot of questions with Ask Shekhar. He's a regular now, so you know what hashtag to use. So let's take some questions now. Mr. Lee wants to know, how did the Bachchan family get attracted to the SP?
Well, Amitabh Bachchan had made a foray into production of films, and he had set up his own company, Amitabh Bachchan ABCL, and 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 he got into a lot of financial trouble because he incurred huge losses. And that is a time when Amar Singh, played a big role, and it was Amar Singh who took him to Mulayam and to Anil Ambani and ensured Amitabh Bachchan company was bailed out. Those were very difficult moments for Amitabh Bachchan, and that is something he has never forgotten, because his company got into a lot of debts, and that it is Amar Singh who acted a bridge between Mulayam, the Samajwadi Party, and and the corporates who were backing Samajwadi Party, and that was the role played by the late Amar Singh, and that also saw subsequently Jaya Bachchan becoming member of parliament as Rajya Sabha member, backed by Samajwadi Party, and things like that. Of course, at one stage that relationship also soared. The relationship between Amitabh Bachchan and Amar Singh also soared. And that was the time probably even Amitabh Bachchan wanted Jaya Bachchan to quit the Rajya Sabha seat, but she refused, and she remains a member of Rajya Sabha.
Next question, please. Narayan Mahalingam wants to know why is there no AAP buzz in Himachal Pradesh? Have they given up on HP?
Well, Arvind Kejriwal's health minister, Satyendra Jain was in charge of Himachal Pradesh, and now he's behind
He's in jail
bars
now,
as,
right? Yeah.
yeah, Satyendra Jain. He's still in jail. And probably after that, Himachal Pradesh, of course, Aam Aadmi Party functionaries have been visiting Himachal, but that they have realized that Gujarat has greater potential than Himachal Pradesh, because Congress is also active in Himachal. And of course, BJP has been very aggressive. PM has already addressed several meetings in Himachal Pradesh. So that could probably be the reason. But there are pockets where Aam Aadmi Party is hoping that at least they were able to get the support of some disgruntled Congress leaders or disgruntled BJP leaders who don't get tickets. And then, but then not bigger impact is expected in Bachchan.
Next question from Mr. Lee again. Is the Bharat Jodo Yatra based on the 2010 Telugu film Leader starring Rana Dagubatti?
Well, I don't know whether Rahul Gandhi was inspired by any Tollywood, or a Bollywood film thriller, but definitely Rahul is very immensely pleased with what he is doing. First time I can see that smile on his face, and that the fact that he got the party to back him on this, got every leader of his, in his party to join in his yatra. That is something that giving him a lot of kicks. But there are already people asking, even in Karnataka, they are saying, has Congress picked too early? Because seeing the yatra moving in Karnataka, some people are already writing, saying that BJP is going to do very badly, that, a hung scenario can happen. BJP again may not have enough numbers. So many predictions are going on. But definitely, Rahul is happy with himself. He feels this is the way he's creating the new Congress. Those who can't match up to his standard or to his level of physical fitness, and he feels that he's discovering new people. He's discovering new younger lot of Congress workers whom he probably would, probably he may groom. But I do not know whether that kind of homework is going into whom the Rahul meets, whether some things are happening or somebody is taking note of his interactions. I don't think such a thing is going on, or I would not know. But definitely what we are seeing is, well, Bharat Jodo is something, that idea was actually proposed by Prashant Kishore, saying that Congress had not done the mass contact program after the last one was done in sometime in '85 by Rajiv Gandhi. This was one of his proposals to revitalize the Congress, and that was picked up by a team headed by 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙧 Singh, and that's how the yatra was planned. But the fact remains that the challenge for the Congress is in the north. A yatra should have been in the north. Now we are told that this is not the only yatra that is going to happen. Once this yatra is done, probably Rahul undertake more yatras, and that would probably be done next year, and it may pass through the northern state. It's possible. But any yatra of this kind also requires a backup action. You know, that is how you ensure that the organizational liveliness is kept. But next year, barring Karnataka, where the leaders are, of course, the problem remains. You have D.K. Shivkumar versus Siddaramaiah, and both are tremendously, aggressive and very ambitious. And to please the Gandhis, D.K. Shivkumar is spending a lot of money, lot of his resources on this yatra, not in just Karnataka but elsewhere too. And he the hope that finally, when it comes, a situation comes where Congress is able to form the government, he will be remembered by the Gandhis.
Next question from Raghavan R. What is the effect of KCR's renaming his party BRS?
Well, it has not created any big ripples or a big wave in the national politics, excepting fact that uh, that particular event was covered, and he had got other leaders to come to. But the fact that he is naming it Bharatiya, I can't see how your potential allies would be very happy. That why should TRS go beyond their just as Mamata's attempts in Goa or Tripura were not encouraged by other allies. Just as nobody would want Shiv Sena to, at least Uddhav Thackeray, Shiv Sena to, try attempts elsewhere. Or even Congress never encouraged NCP coming into other states, outside Maharashtra. So, their internal rivalry is there, because in any future arrangement, I mean, if you are looking at an alternative arrangement in 2024, it requires that Congress also does very well, because Congress, I have said before, Congress needs to win 100 to 150 seats, and all these regional parties to maximize wins in each of their states, so that in the event of BJP not having enough numbers, there is an alternative, because it's going to be purely arithmetic, more than chemistry between allies or chemistry that the allies can hope to have directly from the electorate.
Next question, please. Ramkrishna wants to know, what about the recent ED raids and the involvement of KCR's daughter?
Well, Ramakrishna ji, I think this Delhi liquor scam as a Telangana angle, some of the in which our leaders are facing inquiry, including Manish Sisodia. Some of the firms are seem to be Hyderabad based, and they are seen very close to Kavita. This is what the buzz in Delhi is about, but we do not know whether what is the linkages and all. But definitely, one can see that the fact that Hyderabad-based firms have come under the scanner, it could be pointed to other hidden links. We do not know as yet.
And the next question from Vishwanathan. Okay, let's take this one. AAP with 2 states and a possible good performance in Gujarat at the cost of Congress would checkmate KCR. Is that Kejriwal's strategy?
Well, Kejriwal's ultimate strategy is, that he can ultimately replace the Congress as an alternative force, and force other non-Congress parties, to recognize his importance and worth. Because Kejriwal is a, what I would say is a lamba dodne wala ghoda, the horse which wants to do the long run, which wants to do the marathon, and therefore he is concentrating on states where he finds Congress is weak, and he can capture that opposition space to begin with. And probably if he could do well, in elections in Gujarat or Himachal or in some of the states going to poll next year, he is looking at a scenario in Lok Sabha elections where, apart from 7 Delhi Lok Sabha seats, he can try to win some Lok Sabha seats elsewhere, so that AAP is in a position like parties like KCR's BRS or other smaller parties, to able to bargain for a position in an alternative arrangement if it is possible.
CA Vishwanathan wants to know, will Modi lose 2024 if the rupee falls to 100 to a US dollar? Is the CIA in for a regime change in India?
Well, there are forces outside India who are not very happy with the policies of Modi, or with the resurgence that you are seeing, and the assertion by India in several world fora in terms of our perspective, our priorities. I mean, that's no doubt about it. But at the same time, about the issue of the falling value of rupee, how it is impacting, that's a thing we have to watch for. And of course, at the moment, it looks like well, if our exports go up, it could benefit us. But since we are still a hugely importing country, it has consequences, and that is something the government has to grapple with. Because at one time when Modi was Chief Minister of Gujarat, when the dollar was going up, he himself had taken several digs, and that is been replayed back, saying that, look what you're doing about it. But then this is the transitional phase, as they say. So probably by the time the Lok Sabha elections are held in 2024, a lot of changes could happen, and maybe the value of rupee again could rise.
Thank you very much, Shekhar ji. And viewers, will be back with Shekhar ji next Tuesday to talk about politics of the last week, and that is this week and next Monday. And also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click on the bell button for notification. Shekhar ji, namaskar, and see you next week.
Namaskar, and thank you very much, Shekhar ji. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, sir.